I didn't install the cameras because I suspected her. At least, that's what I told myself. It started with a rash of break-ins around the neighborhood. A few houses down, someone's car was stolen in the middle of the night. Another neighbor had their back door jimmied open while they slept upstairs. That was enough to send me on edge, especially since I was often working late shifts at the hospital. My wife, Hannah, would be home alone, and the thought of her being vulnerable gnawed at me. So I bought the cameras. Tiny, discreet ones that blended into corners of the living room, the kitchen, even the hallway leading to our bedroom. I told myself it was for safety, for peace of mind. I just forgot to tell Hannah. Or maybe, deep down, I didn't forget. The first week, nothing unusual happened. Mostly it was Hannah making tea, reading on the couch, or falling asleep in front of the TV. Watching her from my phone, I sometimes felt guilty, like I was intruding on something private. But other times it felt comforting. I could check in whenever I wanted, see that she was safe. But then, one Tuesday night something shifted. I just finished a grueling double shift and collapsed in the break room with my phone. Out of habit, I pulled up the camera feed. Hannah was in the kitchen. At first, nothing seemed unusual. She was humming, leaning against the counter, sipping a glass of wine. But then, her phone lit up, and she picked it up with a smile I hadn't seen in weeks. A different smile. Her eyes lit up in a way they hadn't with me lately. She typed quickly, biting her lip, her whole face glowing with anticipation. Then she laughed. Softly, almost nervously. And my stomach dropped. I told myself it could have been a friend, maybe her sister. But when she typed again, her voice slipped out, almost a whisper. "Stop it, you'll get me in trouble." Trouble. My chest tightened. The days that followed became torture. Every free moment I checked the feeds. And every time there it was, the secret Hannah. She'd curl up on the couch, phone in hand, smiling down at the screen. Sometimes she'd linger by the window, brushing her hair back, almost as if waiting. One afternoon, she set 2 wine glasses on the counter, poured one, then hesitated before putting the second glass back in the cupboard. I couldn't ask. How could I? To accuse without proof would only make me the paranoid husband, the one too controlling to trust his wife. So I kept watching. The night it happened, I almost wished I hadn't looked. I was in my car, parked outside the hospital, eating a stale sandwich before heading in for the night shift. Out of reflex, I opened the app. First, the living room was empty. Then Hannah appeared, dressed differently, in a soft, flowing blouse I'd never seen before, her makeup carefully done. She poured herself a drink, sat, waited. Minutes passed. Then a knock. She froze, her hand hovering above the glass, then hurried to the door. My heart was hammering so loudly I could hear it in my ears. The door opened, and a man stepped inside. Dark hair. Confident. The kind of man who knew he belonged anywhere he went. Hannah's whole face changed, lit up in a way I hadn't seen in years. She didn't hesitate, didn't hold back. She wrapped her arms around him, and he kissed her like he'd done it 100 times before. I sat in my car, shaking so badly I dropped my sandwich onto the floor. My breath came in short, shallow bursts. I wanted to look away, but I couldn't. They moved to the couch. She laughed softly, tucked her hair behind her ear the way she used to when she was nervous with me. He touched her like he knew every inch of her, and she let him. When they disappeared down the hallway, toward our bedroom, I thought I'd pass out. My bedroom. Her bed. The cameras didn't reach inside. I sat there in silence, staring at the empty living room feed, my reflection staring back at me from the black glass of my phone. I don't remember driving home that night. I only remember sitting in the driveway, gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles ached, staring at the light in the bedroom window. She was in there with him. For 2 hours I stayed frozen, unable to move. My mind reeled. Memories of us, our wedding day, our vacations, the quiet mornings drinking coffee together. Every promise, every laugh, every kiss. It all collapsed into something cheap, something disposable. Eventually the light in the window went out. I went inside after the house fell silent. The air smelled faintly of cologne that wasn't mine. On the kitchen counter sat an empty wine glass, still wet at the rim. I touched it with shaking fingers, then pulled them back as if it burned me. I slept on the couch that night, my body curled tight, my mind spinning with images I couldn't erase. The next morning, Hannah came down like nothing had happened. Her hair was tied up, her face clean of makeup. She smiled at me, soft and casual. "Morning, babe." I stared at her, my chest hollow. She moved around the kitchen, humming, frying eggs. My throat was dry, my voice barely worked. "Who was he?" finally whispered. She froze. The spatula clattered against the pan. Slowly she turned. "What?" I swallowed hard. "Don't play dumb." "I know." Her face shifted, shock, then panic, then something colder. What are you talking about?" "I saw him," I said. My voice cracked. "I saw everything, Hannah." Her lips parted, but no words came. For a long moment we just stared at each other, the silence pressing down like a weight. Finally she whispered, "How?" I almost laughed, a bitter, broken sound. "The cameras. I installed cameras. I forgot to tell you." Her hand flew to her mouth. Her eyes darted around the room, as if trying to spot them. You were spying on me?" The accusation stung. "I was protecting us. I wanted you to be safe. But instead..." My chest heaved. "Instead I watched you betray me in my own home." Tears welled in her eyes, but I couldn't tell if they were real or just for show. She reached for me, but I stepped back. "Hannah," I said, my voice breaking, "was any of it real? Or was I just filling the space until someone better came along?" She crumbled then, sinking into a chair, her face in her hands. Between sobs, words tumbled out. Excuses, apologies, confessions. She said she felt lonely, that I worked too much, that she hadn't planned for it to happen, that it just did. But all I could hear was the laughter, the whispers, the way she looked at him. The way she hadn't looked at me in years. The days that followed were a blur of silence and shouting, of slammed doors and sleepless nights. She begged me to forgive her, to try counseling, to start over. But every time I closed my eyes, I saw them together, and the wound tore open again. One night, she knelt in front of me, tears streaming down her face. "Please don't throw us away. We can fix this. I made a mistake, but I love you." I stared at her, my heart heavy with something that felt like grief. "No, Hannah," I whispered. "You didn't make a mistake. You made a choice. And now I have to make mine." I filed for divorce 2 weeks later. The cameras came down. The house felt hollow, stripped of the life I thought we'd built together.